Amazing. So let's get into it. So first of all, I'd like to start by acknowledging the traditional custodians of the lands and the waterways of the land that we call Darebin today. And I'd like to pay my respect to their elders past, present, and emerging. And I'd also like to pay my respect to anyone Aboriginal or Torres Strait Islander joining us in this session today. So today it'll be a relatively short session because we want to have a lot of time as well for you to ask questions. And we'll run through the Gardens for Wildlife program. So what is it? Why is it important? Who is part of it? And then we'll go into the specific of what is the role of garden guide volunteers. So that's the main thing of our session today, learning what the role is. And then we will talk you through the next steps of what you have to do to become a garden guide. So a little bit on the process to express your interests, onboarding and training. And then hopefully that'll take us into the first 30 minutes or so of the session, and then we'll allocate the rest of the time for questions. So feel free to please put all your questions throughout the session in the Q&A button that should be at the top of your screen. And then hopefully at the time we'll have enough time to go through all of them. And the reason why we're encouraging you to put them all in there, it's because if we don't get time to answer all of your questions, we'll have them all written down and then we'll be able to follow up after the session if necessary. So I'll hand it. Oh, well, something important. I'll introduce myself first. Sorry, everyone. I'm Sophia, and I'm the Urban Ecology and Biodiversity Officer at the City of Darebin, and I am part of the Gardens for Wildlife program. And today I'm joined by Kate and by Connie, and I let them introduce themselves. So, Kate, you want to start, please?
Of course. Hello, everybody. My name is Kate Just. I am the garden guide lead, so I am a volunteer as part of the program, and I work very closely with Sophia to help deliver the Darebin Gardens for Wildlife program. I also act as a support to all of the garden guides, and that's me in a nutshell.
Hi everyone, my name is Connie and I'm the Volunteer Programs Officer at Darebin City Council, and a big part of my role is providing support to staff like Sophia who run council-led volunteer programs, and also to support volunteers as well who are volunteering in our programs. Thanks.
Thank you both, and now we'll start with the fun stuff. So Kate, hand it over to you.
Thanks so much, Sophia. So a little bit about why Gardens for Wildlife is so important in Darebin. So Gardens for Wildlife is important for a number of different reasons. So we'll all acknowledge that we're in an urban area, so we have an urban ecosystem. There's quite a number of threats out there for our wildlife. Roads in our cities and cars and vehicles, chemicals that we use in our home, whether they be insecticides or rodicides. Also, our wonderful pets are a little bit tricky for our wildlife. Our wildlife has been here and has evolved for about 65,000 years, 65 million years for some species, and things like cats and dogs are a little bit confusing to them, and they end up in conflict with each other. We've also got habitat loss as well, particularly with urban areas. There's not a lot of habitat around, and also things like litter and entanglement is not really something that wildlife wants to interact with. So that's why this Gardens for Wildlife program is really important. And Sophia, if you hit the next slide. It's not all doom and gloom. Urban ecosystems can thrive, and wildlife can thrive within urban ecosystems. And that is why this program is so important. We have 3 main creeks across Darebin. Out to the west, we have the Merry Creek. In the centre, we have the Eggers Creek, which is a tributary of the Merry Creek. And out to the east, we have Darebin Creek. Biodiversity, or nature, if you prefer that word, will gravitate to these waterways. They are the life veins of Darebin, and our wildlife will gravitate to these areas, whether it be to call it home, or perhaps they're leaving home and they need to find a mate to start their own life, whatever the case may be. What the Gardens for Wildlife program does is it creates what are called biocorridors, or links between these key habitats. We also have a number of grasslands across Darebin, some other larger bodies of water, again, where biodiversity will gravitate towards to call home. If we create biocorridors in our private gardens and in the gardens of businesses and various other open space, it means that wildlife has sanctuary as they're travelling across these Darebin, or maybe they're going to the next municipality, but what we want to do is give them sanctuary. It also means that we're sharing our knowledge with residents about how to care for wildlife and how to do that authentically within their own private gardens. Wildlife brings a lot of people a lot of joy, so we can very much share those skills there and give the Darebin community the skills to be able to create sanctuary in their own homes. Also, nature is very much linked to health and well-being, and there are many studies that having nature in and around our homes means that we'll have a happier and better life and have better health. Sophia, maybe next slide.
Yes, thank you, Kate. And one of the incredible features of the program is that it is actually part of a broader network of programs across the state. So now it's more than 15 programs that are working towards the same goal of providing habitat to species. So what Kate was saying about building that connectivity, not only, you're not only building that within Darebin, but that also means that you're extending it further than that. And you're part of an incredible network as well of people and community groups and volunteers from different parts of all across Victoria, who are able to share knowledge with you and share their experiences. And so the program was actually initiated by Knox City Council and the Knox Environment Society. So thank you to them. And if you join, whether that is as a volunteer or even as a participant, then you'll be joining an incredible network of people. And so the program goals, which Kate has spoken about, really support Darebin's open space strategy objectives as well, which makes it just a really important program to be supporting and nurturing. So I'll just quickly go through them, but the goals are protecting our local species, increasing appreciation for biodiversity, engaging the community as partners in biodiversity protection, and to make Indigenous bushland character the default choice. So it's challenging that idea of what a garden should be and focusing more into that habitat value that will then provide for local species to thrive within a highly urbanized area that Darebin is. And another amazing thing about the program is that it's a collaboration. So it's a collaboration between volunteers and council. We co-design it and run it together. From Darebin, well, you've met Connie, who introduced herself before, the volunteer programs officer, and myself. We both collaborate to make sure that in the back end everything works well, so that volunteers can do their role as best as they can. And so we have, in the volunteers, we have the garden guides, who are the ones that basically run the show, who make the program be what it is. And you will hear more about the role specifically more from Kate in a little bit. And then we have our garden guide lead, who's Kate, and who just provides an amazing support as well, both in the admin side of things, but also supporting the group of garden guides. And we also have partnerships with our two local Darebin nurseries, indigenous plant nurseries. So the VINC, Victorian Indigenous Nursery Cooperative. And we also have partnership with the Nyanyak Tamburi Wildlife Sanctuary Plant Nursery. And they are the ones who provide the necessary plants for participants to start creating their indigenous gardens. Over to you, Kate.
Thank you. So some of you might be wondering what a garden guide does. So participants or Darebin residents who would like to have a garden visit to learn about how they can turn their garden into a garden for wildlife will register via the Darebin website, and they'll schedule a visit. Did you go too far? Oh. So they'll schedule a visit. So this could be someone's private home, this could be a school, this could be a business, this could be a community area, whatever the case may be. So they'll register on the Darebin website. They'll give us a bit of information, where the property is, what they're hoping to achieve, what their current appetite for gardening is as well, and when they would like to have their garden visit, and whether they would like to have that virtually, which isn't a very popular option, but it is an option, and then whether they'd like to have it physically. We then go out and assess their garden, or do it virtually if they choose to do it that way, and write a report and give it over to them with some guidance about what they can do to help not only support wildlife, but support Indigenous plants. And for those of you who don't know what that is, it's a lovely pale vanilla lily, which is a very beautiful Indigenous plant of Darebin. Let get you to hit the slide, Sophia. So the responsibilities of the garden guide is to schedule the visit, which is simply either an email or a phone call at a mutually agreeable time for the participant and the second garden guide. So garden guides always work in pairs for safety reasons, and also to bounce ideas around. Two minds are better than one, and it also offers an opportunity for mentoring and knowledge sharing, not only with the participant but with each other. So garden guides do 2 visits per month. Obviously, that can be flexible if people have more appetite, or if you're going on holiday, or whatever the case may be, that can definitely be flexible. They'll then go away, write the report, have the volunteer that they went to the appointment with, check the report. There's also opportunities for self-learning. There's opportunities to learn off each other. I have a natural resources management background, so I'm always available for questions. If I don't know the answer, I will find them. Gives me an opportunity for self-learning that I can then play forward to you. There'll also be, before you start, if you do choose to go on this journey, which I hope some of you do, there'll be an onboarding session, some meetings, and then training as required, which will probably go forever, because there's lots of plants to learn and lots of birds to learn and various other things. So the training will be ongoing, and not just from me, from some people that have much better brains than me. I'll hit the slide. So the benefits are, is this you, Connie?
If
Yes.
you like, yes, very
Over
happy to
to
jump
Connie.
in.
Thank you.
Thanks, Kate. Thank you, Sophia. So I think we can all agree that volunteers both, need to feel valuable, but also valued. So recognition is really important, and we thought it very important to speak about it in this information session as well. So, there are so many benefits to volunteering, which I'm sure, most of you are aware of. So we've sort of picked a few that we wanted to speak to just briefly in this session. So the first one we've got there is, it's an opportunity to meet new people, but to also be a part of a broader network of volunteers in Darebin. And that's something we're really working towards. We're sort of shifting from a decentralized model to a bit more of a centralized model, where we sort of are creating these opportunities for you to meet others from other programs in council. Also, to share your skills and knowledge with others. You know, we recognize that you all bring a different set of experiences, skill set, and learnings, and we really value that and what you can share with others, be it fellow volunteers, but also participants of the program, as well as staff as well. There's the opportunity, as Kate was saying, to receive training and also to learn new skills. The opportunity to assist council to plan and improve its volunteer programs. So again, more broadly, how we engage volunteers in the community, by providing, you know, your ideas, your suggestions, your feedback. We're always really encouraging volunteers to come forward with feedback. And then finally, there we have attend events and professional development opportunities, and also connect with fellow volunteers. So for example, in May this year, we had our first National Volunteer Week morning tea, where we invited volunteers from across different council programs to come together and sort of share experiences and get to know each other. I think that's all from me, Kate/Sophia. Thank you.
So we've told you about the program. We've told you what the roles and responsibilities of a garden guide, and we've had an overview of the benefits to volunteering from Connie. So you're probably maybe wondering what next steps. So expressions of interest will be, Sophia will send out a link to everybody that's in the room, and expressions of interest will need to be in by the 8th of October. So we'll get them out to you over the next 24 hours. We'll then go through all of that, shortlist the candidates, and contact them. We'll then conduct interviews. So this will be Sophia and myself, and then successful applicants will be contacted, and then we'll do a training session. So the first training session will consist of, it's on the 28th of October from 10 till 2:30 p.m. at Bundura Farm. The first training session will be more about the admin and some things that you need to know about how the system works, etc., etc. Once that happens, you will be mentored by myself and other experienced guides. So it's okay if you don't know everything about Indigenous plants or everything about wildlife. It's about the passion and the desire to advocate for nature across Darebin and help create our wildlife sanctuary. So that's really what we're looking for, is the passion. It's not necessarily expert knowledge, because we can help you learn that. And then there'll be a whole lot of paperwork to complete, which Connie is an expert on and will certainly help guide you through it all. Sophia and I will certainly do our best, but we have Connie, which is great. And that'll all be wrapped up by about the 5th of November. So we'll be ready to go out and do garden visits in the summer, which is quite pleasant, lots more daylight, etc. Let you hit the next slide. So yeah, as this lorikeet is looking very inquisitive, please drop any questions that you have in the chat. Or does anyone have any questions? Do we have the ability to raise hands?
Yes. You can either write it on the Q&A.
Yep, or you can raise your hand.
Section, yep. Or you can just raise your hand and then we will unmute you. We have a hand up. Sarah, let me just, how do I? Okay, unmute. Perfect. Okay, you should be able to unmute yourself now, Sarah.
Success. Hi.
Well done.
So I'm actually from Bundura, but I was given a link to be able to attend this tonight. Is that going to be exactly the same timeline for Bundura? And do you then share the initial training and onboarding, or do I now completely work with Angela from Bundura?
So those are two separate programs, and the onboarding will be separate as well, because the training session, as Kate was mentioning, will be specific, like we'll train you with what you need to know to schedule a visit, access, for instance, we use a Teams channel for all of our volunteers to access the resources and the information. So whenever we get a new participant signing up to get a visit, we put it up into the Teams channel spreadsheet. And so we'll teach you how to use that, how to access the information. And then we have the templates to create the reports. So yeah, it's completely different onboarding. I'm not sure about their dates, but hopefully we can work it out so we don't clash.
That's all right. I mean, I live in Bandura. I wanted to be a garden guide in Bandura. I think the idea was that I found out what that would actually entail. So I'll just go through Bandura now that I know. I'm still really passionate about doing it, so I'll just go through Bandura now.
Okay, yeah. But if you're interested, like we will be opening other rounds of volunteering. Yes, I don't know, perhaps yearly. So you'll hear from us if you're ever interested. Thank you. Thanks for your question, Sarah.
Thank you.
So just 2 questions in the chat, and Claire, I might answer yours first, and then I'll type in the thing. So Claire's question, for those of you that haven't read it, is it possible to participate if I work full time? Are visits scheduled outside of 9 to 5 and on weekends? Great question, Claire. I work full time and I also run a friends group and run around like a headless chook most of the time, which Sophia will attest to. So you and I will probably get along great. And the great thing about summer is we can do things after work when it's a bit cooler as well, which is sensible. And we also run garden visits on the weekend as well. So that's perfect. Second question is from Evelyn. How many total guides is the program recruiting for? Sophia, I think we were at the like 4 to 5. Depending on, yeah. So 4 to 5 at this present moment in time. Does anyone else have any questions? Left of field questions? What does a tawny frogmouth eat? We'll take them as well. You're on mute, mate.
Classic, thank you. Sorry, I'm gonna go with Rachel, who has her little hand raised, so I will allow me. You should be able to unmute yourself now, Rachel. And then I'll go with you, Steph. I think you need to still click your microphone to unmute if you'd like to ask a question. Or you can type it on the Q&A as well if it's easier. Otherwise, we can just go with the next person and then we can come back to you, Rachel, if that's fine. So who had was Steph, did you wanted to ask? Okay. You're able to unmute yourself, I think, now, hopefully. Oh. Sorry, would you mind in the meantime typing your question? Because I'm not sure what's happening. So you should click on your microphone and then you should be able to unmute yourself. But if it's not working. Hey, do you know how to make the
I mean, would it be worth turning off the mute all? Can you do that?
I think so. Let me just go back to it. Sorry, everyone. Technology is playing against me. Okay. Questions. Okay. How can I unmute everyone? Allow microphone.
Sounds good. What's the worst that will happen?
Yeah, I think that Steph, you're able to unmute yourself.
you should
now.
be able to
I've
unmute yourself
allowed the
now.
microphone. No, if you have a little microphone on the top of your screen that has a little line, you should be able to click on that. Ah.
Who is it,
Are you-
Sophia?
Sorry? I'm not sure how to unmute everyone.
It's
Just kind of one by one.
Mm.
Are you able to type your question in the Q&A section, or? Please, sorry, I'm not sure why this is not letting me. We have a few more questions in the Q&A. Kate, if you wanna
Yep, sure thing.
read through them, thank you. While I try to figure this out.
All right, another one from Claire. Is the program offering one visit per household resident, or does it include follow-up visits when residents are implementing their plan? So at this present moment in time, it only includes one visit per household resident. We are looking into follow-up visits. But yeah, if that's something you're really passionate about, and you are a successful garden guide, then yes, that's something that we can absolutely look at, because it would be really nice to look in the rearview mirror and see how people are going. We quite often get emails from our participants about what they've done and how they're going, or follow-up questions. But yeah, that is certainly something we can consider. So there is another one from Jonathan. Is there a length of time you would like us to volunteer? E.g. 12 months. That's really up to you and up to your level of appetite. It would be great if you could stay with us for 12 months. Some of the garden guides have been with us for 3 or 4 years. So it's really up to you and your appetite. But there probably would be a minimum of 12 months by the time that training had been conducted and various other things. But we can discuss that in an interview process if you had some time restraints. Any other questions?
I think people should be able to unmute now, hopefully.
Hello.
Oh, yes,
Hello.
there you go.
Oh, it's Rosie here. I'm sorry. I was a bit technology challenged and I was a bit late. Can I get someone to give me an overview a little bit later on about the role of the guide, please?
Sure, happy to go through that again now. Sophia, did you want to go maybe, I think it's like 4 slides back? Yeah. So what will happen is a participant or resident, whichever word that you'd like to do, will sign up for a garden visit via the Darebin website. That could be a school, business, or a private resident, or a community garden. We've had some of those as well. The garden guide is then, it's all put into a spreadsheet, and we'll put our names next to the ones that we'd like to do, and that may be just out of a particular interest or a particular knowledge base. The participant is able to put down what they're looking for, and sometimes there's a garden guide that would be suitable for one type of garden or another type of garden. I tend to really love when people want to destroy their nature strips that are lawn and turn it into garden. So I tend to put my name down for all of those ones. It's my thing. So then the garden guide will wait for a partner or ask someone to partner with them. They'll schedule in the visit, and then they'll, Sophia, just one more slide. Thank you. Then they'll go out, they'll meet with the participant, they'll talk through their goals, the time that they have available for gardening, etc., their capability to garden and various other things. Then go away, think about what the best recommendation would be, write it all in a reports in a template. They're typically about 5 to 7 pages long, depending on how big the garden is and how many elements they want with it. There's a lot of information in our existing reports, so you're able to lend from those things. Then there'll be the garden guide that you went with. We'll check over the report, possibly add some more information. Then it will go off to the participant for them to hopefully start creating a garden for wildlife. So essentially, if we wanted to break it down, garden guides are their role is to schedule the visit, to attend the visit, to offer advice about how to create a garden for wildlife. And as I said, you'll be mentored by someone more senior like myself until some of this starts to stick, or if you already have a really great knowledge about Indigenous plants or wildlife, just about process and various other things, then a report will be written. When you are still learning, the experience guide will write that, and then they'll send it over to you for review, so you can see how they're written and the language and the plants that are being recommended and various other things. And then, yeah, the participant gets it. Any other questions now that you can all go rogue and take yourselves off mute? No one's feeling rebellious tonight, okay? Or feeling like a curious lorikeet?
Well, if people think of any questions that they'd like to ask, you can always reach out to the Gardens for Wildlife email.
Oh,
There
Claire.
you go. We have Claire. Yes, please unmute yourself.
Hi, sorry, I thought of my question just after you were about to wrap it up, but I'm interested to know, like, how many guides do you currently have, and how do you do that pairing process? Is it around availability, or is it whether you sort of, obviously match someone up who's less experienced with someone with more experience? But if you could tell us a bit about that, that would be great. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. So at this current moment in time, I'm just going to count in my head, unless you know off the top of your head, Sophia, but
it's 10, but not everyone's active at this stage, because there's people that, are going on holidays or have stepped up for a few months, and but it's active. It's 4 volunteers at the moment.
There's 5 of us that are fairly active, as I was counting on my fingers in a very sophisticated manner. And how those are paired is most of our garden guides all of our garden guides at this present moment in time are experienced and know the system and know about Indigenous plants and various other things. There's always opportunities to take things on notice and to go and ask someone more experienced, or to reference literature or the internet or various other things. When the new garden guides come on board, I will be doing a lot of the mentoring and then handing you off to the experienced guides as well. We'll also be doing quite a fair bit of training with myself. I'm hoping that some of the Darebin bushland experts will also be willing to do some. I'm sure they will be. I'm already roping them in. I'm waiting for a wink from one of them who I know is in the gallery. So we'll be doing some training with them as well, around what wildlife needs and habitat and Indigenous planting and things like that. So we do a lot of training already with the garden guides, taking them out to Namjak Tamboran, things like that. So absolutely, you'll be paired with me for a little while, if that doesn't sound too torturous.
Thank you. And I have got one more question, if that's all right. Just around,
fire them.
You mentioned the program in other local councils. Like, do you connect with them, and how does that work?
Yeah, that's a really great question. So I think it's bi-monthly, is it, Sophia? So there's an affiliate meeting that happens bi-monthly where we all get together, we talk about our challenges, our successes, various other things. They're also available for any type of idea bouncing. Each program runs differently. For a lot of different reasons, the resources of council, the appetite of council and the community. There's also some ecological reasons why things run differently as well. Victoria is really diverse in terms of its EVC, so its ecological vegetation classes, as well as its soil profile and various other things. See, it's torturous hanging out with me. I've got all of this knowledge that I just want to give to you. And different wildlife across the municipalities and various other things. So yeah, they are run differently, but it's really great to get together and share those successes and those challenges of the program.
Yeah, great question, Claire. Thank you. And shout out to some of my colleagues from Baniel and Yara who are actually joining us in the session. So we do share a lot of inside knowledge and experiences and just challenges as well, and how every program deals with those different challenges. And oftentimes we also organize different training sessions to which volunteers from another programs are invited to join. So we've had that with Baniel. We expect to do that with Marybeth soon as well. So yeah, that is really one of the great things about having these big networks of different programs. And I also wanted to send a shout out to Lynn, who is one of our volunteers and who I can see joined us tonight in the session. So thank you, Lynn, for being here. That's awesome. Anyone else have any other questions? I'm still not wrapping up. All good. That you can ask questions. I was just putting this thank you slide so you can see the email in case you have any further questions that you'd like to send there. But yeah, feel free to keep the questions coming, please. Or if there are not any other questions, I will then send another one of my polls, because we'd love to know how inspired you feel after this session. So let me just put it up, and it should come up in your screen. And we're just interested to see. So you should be able to see it in your screen now, and you can please kindly select an option. And that's, I guess, the whole point of doing this information session. This program might not be for everyone because it does require a bit of commitment, not only to do the visits, but also commitment to continuously learn. Because as Kate was saying, is a lot of knowledge and details, and which is the amazing and the fun part about it. So if you're interested in that, then I assure you it'll be an incredible experience for you to join the program and learn amongst other volunteers that will join at the same time. So it'll be a shared learning experience. Oh, thank you everyone for sending through your responses. I will probably close it now. Close the poll. And if you have any further questions, because I know it's a lot of information and it's really hard to put it into a short information session. I think most of the learning comes as you become a volunteer and start doing the visits and talking to your colleagues, etc. So if you have any other further questions, please send us an email and we'll reply. And then because I know some other people might be joining from other local areas or local government areas or even further in Victoria. So then if you go to the Gardens for Wildlife Victoria webpage, you should be able to see if there is a program in your local area for you to reach out and join. Yes. So I'm not sure if Kate, you'd like to ask anything, or Connie, or if anyone else has any last minute questions.
No, just thank you for everyone joining us. And even if you do make the decision not to put in an expression of interest, please do tell your neighbours and your friends about the program, even if they don't live in Darebin, because there's a good chance that there may be a program in their area, and wildlife will certainly benefit from that. And I'm sure that you're all here because you have a love of wildlife. So do tell people about the program. Yes, Claire.
Can I just check, what are the next steps? Do we around the expression of interest? Do you email it out, or do we just, is there a form? Sorry if you covered that. I might have missed it.
No, it's fine. It's fine. So yes, we will send you, I think it's going to go out at 8 p.m. You should receive an email with the link to the form. So basically the form, it's embedded into the platform that we use, which is called Better Impact. If you have any questions about Better Impact, we have Connie, who is the expert on it, but it's an amazing platform. And then you'll be able to submit all your responses there. We have like 3 questions that we ask you to complete, and then you just submit that, and we will then get in touch with the short list of candidates, and we'll go from there. But yeah, you'll receive that in the email, and if you don't, it'll be all around our socials, Darebin socials, shared in friends of groups as well. Yes, and if you don't find it, just please send an email to gardensforwildlife@darebin.vic.gov.au, and I can just personally send you the link. Any other last minute questions? We still have a bit of time, so if you don't have any questions, you're free to leave now and go have dinner and enjoy life. If you do have any other questions, you're free to hang around for a bit and ask. Either you want to type it or unmute yourself. You're welcome to do it.
There is
Thank
another
you.
question in here. I'm curious about the
Okay.
age demographic of the volunteers. Are there many younger volunteers? There can be. I'm probably the youngest, and no one please guess my age. But there absolutely can be, and it's well and truly encouraged. We'd love to diversify our demographic of volunteers. So, regardless of your age or where you've come from, if you're interested in Gardens for Wildlife, please apply.
I think that's all the questions that we have in the Q&A section.
It is, yeah. So thank you, everyone. Have a really lovely night. And yeah, if you have any questions tomorrow morning, please send us an email. Enjoy your
Thank you,
evenings.
everyone.
Thank you, everyone.